Whenever you see yourself as always right and never wrong, always justifying yourself, rationalizing your behavior, you have a stronghold of the mind, and all strongholds are of the enemy. The enemy creates strongholds to protect negative seeds. What are you saying, Pastor? I'm saying that there's a negative seed that was sown years ago, and what he does, he says, I have to protect that seed. So you can have something in your mind against me and not even know me, and you met me for the first time, and now the seed has been planted. And when you start protecting that seed, nobody can tell you anything different than Pastor Steve think he all that, Pastor Steve think he's this. You can look at some sister and you've already developed a seed of thought, and because you continue to address it, you continue to talk about it, you continue to say things about it, and you begin to protect that seed. Why? Because the enemy wants you to continue to protect that seed until it grows into fruit. See, a seed has to cultivate. What do you cultivate it? You cultivate it with reasons. I got a reason, so you're cultivating it and you're causing it to grow. I got a reason why I don't like you. Why don't you like me? Because you didn't speak to me. That's a reason. So you just watered that seed. You just watered that seed. Every reason that you come up with why you're insecure, why you're feel inferior, you're just watering that inferior seed. And when it begins to produce fruit is when you begin to start behaving like an insecure person. You begin to act like you're so anxious, and once it begins to permeate from your life, now seed has turned into fruit. But I dare you to tell two people, say, pull down that stronghold. Pull down that stronghold. I want a normal life. I want to live the way I need to live. Then you need to pull down that stronghold. Be seated. So Paul declared that God has given us a weapon which is endued with divine power to demolish and destroy every stronghold. And if you believe it, give God praise. Clap your hands, somebody. Look at what Paul described as stronghold. Look at verse 5 with me. Go there. He called them imaginations. Imaginations. Did you see that? In verse 5, he called them imaginations. Imaginations are speculations. They're arguments. Imaginations, watch this, they're mental images formed in your mind, which forms ideas and concepts. The enemy will bring thoughts to your mind to cause you to create a false imagery in your mind concerning people and things, and as you feed this imagery with negative thoughts, it strengthens your concept and about an idea and about a person or a thing, and it becomes a reality in your imagination. You can think something so much until it becomes believable. It becomes a reality. No matter what anyone says, you believe what you believe, and nobody can tell you different because you have the evidence of your thoughts to prove it. But even if the word of God came, watch this. This is where it really gets kind of strange, because now here comes the word to try to help you to bring an understanding to that thought, and now all of a sudden it's challenging you. That's why when people hear the word and it challenges their thinking, there's this resistance that comes. Because if the enemy, Tina, if he sowed it, then there's going to be a resistance against anything that's coming against that thought. Any word of God that challenges the thought that is not lining up with the word of God is going to resist it. That's why people don't want to hear the word. It's not you that don't want to hear it. That's the spirit that's trying to protect that thought. It doesn't want, because if it ever gains access to that thought, the word has power enough to pull it up and root it up. That's how people change their thinking, because they've allowed the word to gain access to their thinking. And because the word of God doesn't just come in and sow new seeds, what it does, it transforms your thinking. So what it does, it takes that old thought, beats it into submission. It takes old thoughts and beats it to submission, and the word commands that thought to change. It causes that thought, Songa, to change. That's why you can come and hear a word and you say, oh my God, I never saw it like that. What just happened was your mind just twisted. Your mind, Sister Brown, just turned toward the truth, and you don't even know that happened, how it happened, but it was a supernatural thing that was going on while you were just sitting there looking at the preacher, hearing the word of God. God was transforming your mind. The transformation, we got it all wrong. We think the transformation of the mind is an initiation of our own will, but that's the kernel part. You can change your mind on the kernel side and say, I'm going to change my mind about what I'm going to do tomorrow. That's not spiritual. That's you using the decision of your own will to change your mind. But when we talk about spirit, we're talking about a total change of concept. The whole idea has been changed. Now the way I look at this is much different now. I don't see this the way I used to see it. Why? Because that which was there all the time, you never knew it was there, because it's called revelation. God doesn't bring anything new. He just unveils it. He just lets you see something that you never saw before. It's called revelation. That's why when people think they got new ideas, I got new revelation. It ain't nothing new, baby. It was there all the time. You just didn't go to the place where you could get that revelation, which is seeking God, fasting in prayer, and staying on your knees. Then God will give you something that you always had, but you never knew. Touch 3 people, say, ain't nothing new. Ain't nothing new. It may be new to you, but it ain't nothing new. God, come on, church. He said he's a rewarder of those that diligently seek him. So here we are. What we don't know is that many times the enemy will sow seeds in our thought process. And the seeds that he's sown that we thought was true were actually lies, to build a false reality into our imagination. Without even realizing it, we've allowed the enemy to create a stronghold in our mind. But I dare somebody to say it with me: the devil is a liar. Every false imagination that you have exalted against the knowledge of Christ must come down. Somebody shout, they must come down. Paul declared in verse 5 that the weapons of our spiritual warfare that we have are so powerful that we can destroy and cast down the strongholds of false perception, imaginations, and every high thing that wants to exalt itself above the truth. And then the last part of verse 5, look at it. It says, in bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ. What this means, my brothers and sisters, that after breaking down the stronghold, we don't throw it away just like I just described. We beat it into submission. So I don't know who I'm talking to today, but lately the devil has you hearing the negative, seeing the negative, experiencing the negative, listening to the negative, and speaking the negative. I need to talk to somebody, because the same person I'm talking to, I'm prophesying to you, and I'm saying that the strongholds are about to come down, and God is about to transform your mind. If that's you, I'll give you 10 seconds of my time to give God a shout and a praise.